First City Focus is supported in part by Duke Energy, powering the lives of its customers and communities. Online at duke-energy.com. Good Samaritan, a regional healthcare center offering a variety of services from primary care to same-day joint replacement surgery and more. Good Samaritan online at gshvin.org. Colonial Assisted Living. Colonial is an assisted living residence, promoting independence and dignity for each resident while providing the necessary assistance for daily living. Colonial Assisted Living, 1622 South Hart Street Road in Vincennes, 812-895-1504. And by donations contributed by Vincennes PBS viewers like you. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to First City Focus. I'm your host, Dave Foster. On this episode, we look at downtown Vincennes, local businesses, and efforts to revitalize vacant spaces. The longtime voice of Trailblazer basketball at Vincennes University is retiring. We'll honor Dave Hunter in a special feature. The Indiana Theater in downtown Washington is marking its 100th anniversary with a new documentary celebrating its past, present, and future. And we take you to the ribbon cutting for Vincennes University's largest building project ever. The Center for Health Sciences and Innovative Learning was open to students for the spring semester. These stories right now on First City Focus. The Downtown Vincennes Association has a new coordinator. Ellen Harper took on the role last fall, and in part one of our two-part First City Focus series on downtown revitalization, she sits down with Joe Ballinger to talk about how the DVA got started and how it's working to help downtown businesses succeed.
Being a native of Knox County, for 10 years I worked for the state of Indiana, and I was a liaison for the Office of Community and Rural Affairs. And part of what I taught and went in and helped communities do was the Indiana Main Street program. Vincennes wasn't a Main Street program, and when Pioneer Oil came to Vincennes to locate their corporate office in downtown Vincennes in the old Hills department store building, it ended up that they came to me, Steve Miller came to me, and he said, what's it going to take to become an Indiana Main Street? Because at that time there was some funding resources that would have been really good for us to look at. So I helped the community get back into that mode to become an Indiana Main Street. Steve came to me and offered me the position to come back and oversee INVIN, which was basically, it was a nonprofit, and it was the Main Street program for the city of Vincennes. So I came back in 2015 to do that full time for the city, and being a native, I have a real passion. I have a passion for all of our community, but for downtown in particular. INVIN we had kind of done our plan. I mean, we kind of had did the things that we wanted. We also had done a downtown revitalization plan, and there was a lot of things in that was going to take a lot more money than what we ever would have at this point, but a lot of those things that we wanted done, we had accomplished. So at that point, INVIN just kind of went away, but we still wanted to have our Main Street org, which we then became Downtown Vincennes Association, which is a 501c3 under the Knox County Chamber Foundation. Like the downtown revitalization plan that I mentioned we did in 2016, it needed to be updated. It's 10 years old. We're working on that right now. So, and a downtown revitalization plan is basically, it's the city's plan, but then it's a roadmap to give to Downtown Vincennes Association for things that we'd like to see done in the downtown area.
Okay.
With being an Indiana Main Street program, you have to have 4 committees. And the first committee is your design committee. And your design committee is basically your look of downtown, from the flowers to banners to the Christmas tree to, it could be something like live music, whatever. So it's basically the look of downtown, your design is. Promotion committee is the committee that it's all about the events, activities that's going on. And it doesn't have to be something that's ran by DVA. For instance, the Watermelon Festival is a prime example. That's a chamber event, but yet it's held in our downtown, and we help promote it. We cross-promote a lot of this stuff. The one event that we are in charge of, DVA, is Summer on Main. And Summer on Main this year will be June 26th. We like it in the spring, the early part of the month, but part of the reason we went with the 26th of June this year is because on kind of the 250th celebration for the United States. And so we were thinking if we could do something that weekend, and then there's Rendezvous Weekend the end of May. Then if we do this the end of June, and then 4th of July, it just kind of all flows in together. So that will be Summer on Main. The economic vitality, it could be economic vitality to restructuring to development. But basically what that committee does is they look at all those empty buildings and try to figure out, okay, how could we market this building to do something else? You know, sometimes we get stuck in a rut and we don't think that, for instance, people have brought to me, they'd love to see a kids play cafe. Those are big everywhere. It's like a space that there's kids, it's for moms with smaller children that aren't in school, that they can come and play and run all that energy out and play and the whole bit, but yet there's a coffee shop close that they can have their coffee, you know, the moms can network, the kids can learn to, you know, play with other kids, that type of thing. We know if you have those kids downtown, whether they're little bitty kids to the older ones, that's going to bring the parents. That's going to bring a lot of other people. So we would love to see something like that. Another thing that's been brought up is a bookstore. A music venue would be wonderful. So the Economic Vitality Committee looks at all those different things to see who might we talk to that would be an investor that's willing to go in and put the work into it, put the money into it to make something new happen for downtown. So that's the third committee, and then the other committee is the organization committee. And it basically is, it's a group of 5 to 7 people. You have someone from each of the other committees that sit on that committee that reports to them of what's going on. You have a chair of it, a secretary, that type of thing. And they basically are kind of your board that kind of looks at everything going on, gives suggestions. Those are the 4 committees that we have to be an Indiana Main Street community, whether it's an affiliate, as we are, or whether it's an Indiana or a national Main Street.
And that's part 1 of our First City Focus series on downtown revitalization. Part 2 will air in March with a look at new businesses and future plans for downtown. Vincennes University men's basketball has been a part of the Hunter family's legacy for decades, and now a familiar voice connected to the program is wrapping up his final season as Dave Hunter's run comes to an end.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Dave Hunter, and welcome to the 25-26 VU Trailblazer basketball season.
He's had a passion for the players, for the coaches, for the school.
We took the opportunity to honor Dave Hunter, who's been the voice of Trailblazers men's basketball for 44 years. This is his last year, and we wanted to make sure that we sent him out, on a very good note. He's been very instrumental in men's basketball here. I mean, he's an ambassador.
Tonight, we are honored to celebrate Dave's legacy with his family here in attendance.
Oh my gosh, it's been such a big part of our family. Dad has such a passion for it. Not everybody is lucky enough to say that they do something that they love, but he is. We've loved watching the Blazers all through the years. I can remember being a little girl and coming out here and watching games and just following Dad around, and it's been a huge part of our family.
Well, it's been a big part of my life for the last 44 years. Originally I broadcast high school games, and in 1982 change of ownership of the station resulted in me moving over to do the Trailblazer games, and I did those and the high school games for many, many years after that. Yeah, it's been a tremendous ride. I mean, when you think about 44 years to do anything and do it what you love for that long, it's really great. I've been as far east as Westchester, New York, as far west as Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Miami, Florida, Upper Michigan. So, I mean, the program is on a national scale. So that means over the years we've traveled to some pretty faraway places. My family's been very forgiving because you can imagine it takes a lot of time to cover the games and be gone a lot. And I mean, their support has been just absolutely, outstanding. I think that, I'm very fortunate that my family has been there, all this time. And now then, as I wind up doing the games, they're there to see, what I've accomplished over the years, and I'm really proud of that.
We were always here at the basketball games, and he would let me sit up at his desk with him and wear a headset, and I would keep a score sheet right next to him. And it's just so special, he's been doing it for so long. He loves basketball, especially VU basketball, and the amount of support we've shown him and all the people, all the staff here. I think it's just really special.
So at this time, we invite you to direct your attention to the video board as we share a special tribute honoring the life, career, and legacy of Dave Hunter, the voice of the Trailblazers.
I would personally like to thank Dave Hunter for his loyal support of me while I coached here for 25 years. So I know this is Dave's last year to announce the VU basketball games. I know he'll be deeply missed by the fans that listen to him on the radio all the time in the VU program. So I want to wish Dave the best. Hope he enjoys his retirement. Thank you.
Hi Dave, Jason Holmes. I just want to wish you the best in retirement. Dave's been a valuable member of the Trailblazer family for as long as I've been around. And I've enjoyed his friendship and all that he's done for the Trailblazer basketball. I just using one word, I'd say passion. He's had a passion for the players, for the coaches, for the school, and he has made Trailblazer basketball enjoyable for many, many years. You will be missed. I've always enjoyed turning in and getting your reports, and I just wish you the very best.
Dave, congratulations on your retirement. I know it's been said for a while that it was going to be your last year, and it's here. You deserve a happy retirement from calling the Blazer games. Done a fantastic job just bringing to life Trailblazer basketball. You will be missed, but you're very much appreciated. Enjoy.
What's up? Just wanted to reach out, congratulate my guy, Big Dave Hunter. You've done an incredible job at Vincennes. You made my time very memorable. Got me off to a great start in terms of my coaching career. I can't thank you and your family, your beautiful wife, enough for your support.
Hey, this is Todd Franklin. It's been an honor and privilege to work with you. I'm very saddened that this is the last year. We've been together the entire time of these 16 years I've been at Vincennes. We've had a great run, a lot of trips to Hutch, a national championship, and it wouldn't have been the same without you doing the call. And hopefully we can get another one with you on the call. And if this is your last year, send you out the right way.
Wow, 44 years, Dave. You are the voice of Vincennes University basketball, and that is amazing, my friend. My thanks to you and Kay for all you did for our tennis program over the years. You're traveling to our national tournament, driving down to all parts of Texas, Plano, Corpus Christi, Tyler, to be a part of that. Meant the world to me, as well as all the players and teams that you were so integrally a part of.
That I love him, and I love that I've got to see him do something he loves all his life.
Thank you, Dave Hunter.
And we'll all be rooting for the Blazers to make it to the NJCAA National Championships in Hutchinson, Kansas, and send Dave out with a win. A cold January evening became a special night at the Indiana Theater in Washington. Residents gathered to watch a Vincennes PBS History Vault episode highlighting the theater's impact on the community. The program, shown on the big screen, was produced by our own Tessa Haig and Dave Novak.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Indiana Theater. On November the 11th, I come to the theater and I have a package, and I open up this package and there's a book, and it's by a guy named Stephen Faust. And in there is a little letter and a note, and he gave his personal cell phone. Well, the same day I received that book, I get a message from David with Vincennes PBS, and he says, "Russ, would you be interested in having a special on our History Vault about the Indiana Theater?" And Stephen was talking about in his letters like how he grew up here. And so I literally on that same day sent a text to Stephen. I said, Stephen, would you like to come and be a part of this project?
Thank you everyone for coming. It's just so exciting to see everyone here, and this has just been a great opportunity for storytelling and to get to know the community.
Thank you all for coming out, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Karate Kid, Jurassic Park.
And it was a creature feature called Them.
Once again, on Main Street, in Washington, Indiana, the story begins.
This darkening, magical palace of light and sound had a profound effect on this impressionable young small-town boy. It's why I'm here tonight. And it's why it became an important setting in my book. You see, Lights and Moon, again, takes place in Washington in the years 1960 and 1961. Its main characters are a collection of local kids who are 12 and 13 years old, just as my friends and I were at the time. And if you were around back then, too, well, you know already that growing up during that period of time was a lot different than growing up today.
I'm not sure that I've ever appreciated more tonight than thinking about where I grew up, when I grew up, and with whom I grew up. It's moving. I can hardly put it into words. I've thought about this a lot today, and particularly tonight when the documentary was running, and I couldn't help but see myself again as a little kid. I took a moment and looked up at the ceiling and the lights and just tried to breathe it all in. And it's funny how life sometimes comes full circle.
It was great. It was very well done. It was a fun night. Yeah, celebrate the theater and the history of it and just see folks come out and just be excited about it.
No, I just want to thank you guys. And you know, if you don't use any of my stuff, use this, right? You guys are the ones that are telling these stories all throughout Southern Indiana. And people, if we lose the sense of our history, we lose our roots. We lose who we are as a community, and it affects the way that our future looks. So I just appreciate you all. So don't lose fact of how important the work that you guys are doing, not just on the history of the Indiana Theater, but all these great stories that are out there to tell. So, you know, keep on trucking is what I would just encourage you all. So thank you all.
For nearly a century, the glow of a marquee on Main Street has meant something special in Washington, Indiana. Long before streaming menus, before stadium seating, and endless screens, this was where stories came alive. Families gathered together, kids grew up, and memories took shape in the dark. Across America, small-town theaters have dimmed as corporate megaplexes have taken over. Rows got wider, screens got bigger, and something was quietly lost along the way: the feeling of belonging. Because even in a changing world, there is still a reason for places like this to stay open. To understand its importance, we must travel back to the very beginning. In 1877, this block of Main Street was the heartbeat of the city of Washington. The Grand Opera House was built as a monument to culture and entertainment, serving as a central gathering place for the community. The venue hosted everything from stage plays and live music to local events, and as the era of silent film arrived, the building was renamed the Grand Theater, bringing the magic of the silver screen to audiences in Washington. On January 10, 1926, tragedy struck when highly flammable celluloid film ignited in the projection booth. Patrons fled into the street as the flames consumed the building, which eventually collapsed into a pile of brick and ash. The community refused to let the music die. Rising from the ashes, the Indiana Theater was built on the same site and dedicated on October 6, 1926, just 9 months after the fire. It reclaimed its place on Main Street and continued as a home for movies, music, and shared memories through World War II and beyond. As Hollywood's golden age arrived, so did packed houses and shared anticipation.
I think it serves as a centerpiece, a bedrock of a community. It's a gathering place where people can come together and at the very same time, in a darkened theater, sitting shoulder to shoulder with another group of people, share a communal experience.
From the post-war boom through the 1990s, the Indiana Theater thrived.
As a kid growing up, quite literally, Main Street and the Indiana Theater was my front yard playground.
For decades, the Indiana Theater wasn't just where you watched a movie, it was where you ran into neighbors, went on first dates, and learned how stories could shape you.
I would go to the Roy Rogers Club on Saturdays and see all the shoot-'em-ups and the cartoons and have a big time there. But by the same token, I would just go see anything.
Grew up coming here a lot through my teenage years. Had dates here, brought my family here later on. Yeah, it's been a part of local life as long as I can remember.
This theater was a big part of my life growing up. You know, as a kid, what did you do on the weekends? Especially when we got into junior high and freshman, sophomore year in high school, you went to the movies.
But by the early 21st century, the rules changed.
Prior to 2014, it was closed down for a couple years when corporate America moved to megaplexes and closed down a lot of the smaller movie theaters.
I can remember the day to a T. I remember when it closed. I remember previous ownership, it was under the big chain, and they had done a swipe and just wiped out a bunch of their theaters, locations in the small towns that weren't producing the numbers they needed. I can remember the day they came through and said they were closing our theater. It didn't make the cut. And they literally put the boards on the windows out front. The marquee went dark.
But that wasn't the end of the story. After AMC closed the theater in 2011, new owners stepped in. By 2014, KJB Theaters restored and reopened the building and brought the lights back to Main Street. Just as hope returned, the pandemic tested the theater once again.
So the previous owner purchased it then, operated it pretty successfully, and then COVID hit. And as many theaters struggled, COVID was hard on this theater. You weren't allowed to have crowds, and then eventually they mandated that they closed it down and couldn't show movies at all.
With the theater at risk again, community members stepped forward.
During COVID, the previous owner reached out to us and asked us if we could come look at doing repairs to it, and it was going to be at the point where it was unfeasible for him to do the repairs. And at that point, we didn't want to see it close again, and we asked if we could partner up with him and purchase it and have him continue operating it. We operated it as the landlord for a year. That following year, he decided to turn it over to us and have us operate it as well.
During Dusty's time, major changes were needed.
We did a major renovation here just to modernize it and keep it in good shape. It's mainly cosmetically how it always has been. We've tried hard to keep that nostalgic feel to it. Our goal was to get it in good enough shape to turn it over to someone to let them operate it.
That someone turned out to be an old friend.
About 6 months ago, family moved back to this area. I was going to be working up in Bloomington doing insurance, and a buddy of mine, Dusty Davis, I've known him for 20 years, and I were having lunch one day, and I knew he was in the process of selling the theater. He told me about owning it for the last 2.5 years and renovating it, bring it back to standard, but he just said he didn't have time to really dedicate the time to run in the theater. Next thing you know, on Monday, I submitted a purchase agreement. Even though people can watch movies at home, for people in Washington and Daviess County, they have to drive to Vincennes or Jasper to go to watch a movie in a theater. And I thought that our community would get behind this, and Dusty did too, and really rally behind it. They want to be able to see the first run movies in their hometown.
Because long after the credits roll, what remains is the experience. The walk downtown, the glow of the marquee, the shared silence before a story begins. In an age where so much is watched alone, places like the Indiana Theater remind us why watching together still matters.
It's nostalgic. It's It's something for a little kid to come out to the big movie theater with the big screen and a huge room, compared to the megaplexes that just have a different feel. And having it locally owned on Main Street, you come down Main Street and the first thing you see is the bright lights and the marquee. It's something really cool that you just grow up with, and you want to go back and experience that as an adult.
For nearly a century, this theater has survived fire, change, closure, and uncertainty. Not because it was easy, but because Washington never stopped believing it was worth saving.
Someone asked me, your why? What's your why? Why did you do this? Well, the why is that I'm a big basketball fan, and Coach Jim Valvano, during his ESPY speech, but right before he passed away, used this phrase, and he said, if you can be brought to your emotions stirred to that you cry, or your emotions can be brought to a laugh, or something has happened to make you think, that's a really good day. And I think that's what movies do, and I think that's what theater does, and I think coming to a comedy show or coming to watch a magician, it allows us to detach from all the problems of the world and just be able to come in and enjoy, whether it's a movie, whether it stirs our emotions, gets us going, whether we cry, whether we laugh, or whether we think. And that's what movies did for me when I was growing up, and so hopefully we can help people in the craziness of the world just be able to come and for a couple hours, whether you're going off to sci-fi land, or you're going off to the Wizard to see the Wizard, or you're going to go watch some animals just make you crack up over a crazy animated show, or if it's watching Christmas Vacation that takes you back 20 years ago and the memories that you have there. I think that's the unique thing that movies can do, and it doesn't just do it for me, it does it for everybody, because they all have their own personal experience with each movie.
You can watch the full History Vault episode on the Indiana Theater at our Vincennes PBS YouTube channel. In our final focus, we celebrate Vincennes University's newest building on campus. The Center for Health Sciences and Innovative Learning was open for the spring 2026 semester. Tessa Haig takes us to the ribbon cutting.
Peter Drucker said the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I think today, this facility shows how Vincennes University and all of our partners here today are creating a future for this community and beyond.
I can't imagine how many times we dreamed. Even before we were presented this opportunity, we imagined something better, a place with room to think bigger, to teach smarter, and to prepare students for the reality of today's healthcare world.
There were 2.5 years of design before we even started construction on this. In 2 more years of construction, there were hundreds of participants, hundreds of laborers, thousands of decisions, and that's all honesty.
VU graduates serve in hospitals, clinics, care facilities, and other fields throughout Indiana. The new center allows us to meet growing workforce demands by educating students in spaces that mirror the environments that they will enter after graduation. This is really a once in a lifetime for us sitting in this room and to be here. And I just want to acknowledge that all of the faculty, the staff, all of the students who are represented and who will come through these halls in the future, just think about the countless lives that they will make an impact on. Together, we are building a stronger workforce, advancing health outcomes, and investing in the future.
And that wraps up this week's First City Focus. On behalf of everyone at Vincennes PBS, I'm Dave Foster. Thanks for spending your time with us. We'll see you next time.
First City Focus is supported in part by Duke Energy, powering the lives of its customers and communities. Online at duke-energy.com. Good Samaritan, a regional healthcare center offering a variety of services from primary care to same-day joint replacement surgery and more. Good Samaritan online at gshvin.org. Colonial Assisted Living. Colonial is an assisted living residence, promoting independence and dignity for each resident while providing the necessary assistance for daily living. Colonial Assisted Living, 1622 South Hart Street Road in Vincennes, 812-895-1504. and by donations contributed by Vincennes PBS viewers like you. Thank you.